6 are different, though. The first 6 are your powers of 10. So I'm going to write a 1 and then count my number of zeros, and that will tell me how many zeros to put on the number. Okay? Now, if you see it in exponential form, you'll still write a 1 and then put the same number of zeros as your exponent. So now I've got, write a 1, and I've got 2 zeros here for 10 to the second power, plus 1 more. So what's 2 plus 1? 3 zeros. Okay? What about 10 to the third power?
1,000.
1,000. It's right up here, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. 10 to the third plus another 0. So that's how many zeros?
10,000.
No, I said that's how many zeros?
4.
And that's the same thing as 10 to the fourth power, isn't it? Okay, now things are going to change a little bit. So take a look at this next set. There's 5 in a set, and there's kind of a pattern that develops, okay? The first 2, I can just cross off zeros when I divide, can't I?
Yep.
So my answer will be 5. Write this with me as we're going. This time I can also cross off zeros, so my answer will be 5. The next one, I cannot do that. You should be writing. The next one, I can't cross off 2 zeros, so I'm going to use the decimal hop. So if I hop the decimal, my answer will be 5.10, but do I need that 0? No, so I'm going to not write it. The next one, how many times do I hop the decimal?
2.
2. 5.16. Okay, how many times do I hop the decimal?
2.
Now someone tell me why we're going to the left. Because we're dividing. And if you look over on our poster over here, we have a little thing to help us. You can hop the decimal. Did you practice that at your other school? Okay, good. All right, let's do the next 5, and then I'm going to set the timer. So I've got, ooh, can I cross off zeros?
Yes.
We like that, don't we?
Yep.
Good. Okay, now I've got to hop the decimal how many times?
3.
3. So 6, whoops, I did the wrong one. 6 point what? 2, because I don't need my extra zeros. The next one, hop it 3 times, 6.228. And then if I hop the next one 3 times, 6.283. Okay? So I'm going to give you 4 minutes to do this. I think it will be enough time for most of you. Put your pencils down for a minute. If for some reason you finish side B, you can turn it over and practice side A. Side A is a little different. We multiply in the first column and divide in the second column. Okay? So I'm going to pause this while we do 4 minutes. So on this lesson 16, let's skip the first 2. And let's move on down to, whoops, that's way too far, Mrs. Lewis. Let's move on down to these 2 problems right here. 6.7 divided by 5. And then we'll do the next one. So what will I skip count by on this one?
5.
And you can stop at 20. Okay, so just do what we do. Wherever I write it, you write it. Okay, and since I'm dividing by a whole number, I can put my decimal right up to the top. Okay, all right. So help me out here. Pull some sticks. Alexis, are you here?
No, you don't.
Miguel? You're here. Miguel, what should I circle over here? Which number is closest to 6 without going over?
5.
The 5. Where do I write the 1? Above the 6. Where do I write the 5?
Down below.
Okay, and the reason we're skip counting to help us out is because, why, boys and girls?
So we can.
What's coming? What's coming in 5th grade?
Math test.
No.
I mean, you're not.
Eventually, but 2-digit divisors are
Oh
coming,
yeah.
okay? And since we know 2-digit divisors are very tricky, we've got a strategy. But yes, there should be a math test coming. All right, so what do I do here? I need to find a number close to 17 without going past.
15.
Okay, so where do I write the 3?
Above the 7.
Okay. 7 minus 5 is 2 less than my divisor?
Yes.
Okay, so now we want to get rid of the remainder. So how do I get rid of the remainder? Diego, are you here? Okay. Okay, I'm going to drop down a 0. And Derek said, it's like making an invisible 0 visible, because we already know there's a 0 there. We just don't write it. So now do I have a 20 over here?
Yeah.
Okay. So that takes a remainder of 2 and turns it into a problem that divides out evenly. So my answer here is 1 and 34 what?
10.
Hundreds. Okay, let's do the next one. So the next one is, what will I skip count by?
4.
And you can stop at 20. Okay, this one's a little different. How is it different? There's a 0 in front in the ones place. So I'm going to put a box around the 0 and the 5. I'm going to skip the 0. Just write a 0 up there. Okay, so which number is closest to 5? JJ, are you here? No. How about Jacob?
I'm right here.
Jacob, which number is closest to 5 without going over?
4.
Where do I write the 1?
Above the 5.
And the 4 goes below the 5, right? Okay.
And you equal a pencil that doesn't want to work.
So can I bring down my 8?
Yes.
Yes. So which number over to the side? I can find someone who's here. So Lolly, which number over to the side is closest to 18 without going over? 16. So where do I write the 4?
At the top, above the 8, I should say.
And when I subtract, I get a remainder of 2. So remind me how to get rid of that remainder?
Add invisible 0.
Yeah, make your 0 visible. Very good. Do I have a 20 over there?
Yes.
Works out perfect. What do students often forget to do?
Add their decimal.
No?
Circle.
No? They don't. They forget to write the quotient at the top. They get all of it done correctly, and then they have no numbers up there. Okay? So try not to let that happen to you. We're going to do one more, and then we'll start with our word problems. So this should be on the back. What will I skip count by? 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. I think that's far enough. Okay, so am I looking at the 93 or the 9? Just the 9. You don't have to put a box around it. I'm just giving you a visual. So the closest number to 9 is 6. Now I'm going to subtract. Can I bring down my 3? Okay. Why can I bring it down?
Because it's lower than the whole number.
Because my remainder is lower than my divisor. Good. Okay, which number is closest to 33?
30.
And that gives me a remainder of 3, which we don't want. So drop your 0. And a lot of times we just write times 2. We've used that one twice. Okay? So I have, now boys and girls, I want you to think about it for a minute. You feel pretty confident about this? Fist to 5. 0. You don't know it. 5. You're doing pretty great. Okay? All right. So we're going to start some problems here in a minute, don't we? Okay. So let's take a look at that. Okay. This is the first tape diagram is to organize your thinking. Okay? The second one we'll use to solve the problem. Jesse and 3 friends buy snacks for a hike. They buy trail mix for $5.42, apples for $2.55, and granola bars for $3.39. If the 4 friends split the cost of the snacks equally, how much should each friend pay? So the first thing we have to figure out is the total amount for the snacks, right? Okay, so that's our first question mark. So that goes on top of your tape diagram. And then, how many different snacks did they buy? 3. So let's get 3 parts in this tape diagram. And we've got trail mix, I'm calling that TM. Trail mix. Apples. And granola bars, GB. Will that work? Okay, so how much for the trail mix?
$5.42.
Okay. And the apples?
$2.55.
Good. And the granola bars?
$3.39.
Jacob, go get a pencil from behind my desk and use it.
My pencils never work. No, I got them from Walmart.
Okay, so we don't need all this conversation while I'm recording, right? Okay, so what do I have to do to find the total? I add them up. I don't want to add 3 numbers. There's an easier way. So I'm going to show you, yeah, it simplifies things. So I'm going to add the first 2. So I'm adding the trail mix, and I'm going to put that right here, plus the apples, starting with that. So add those 2 up. Now, John, on this one, he said, okay, beside that, write TM plus A. Cute, huh? Yep. So now what am I going to add in?
The granola bars.
The granola bars. So the granola bars are $3.39. And I'm adding. So do I have a total for the cost of all the snacks?
Yes.
What is it?
$11.36.
Okay, $11.36. So it says Jessie and her 3 friends. Now we're going to divide. Jessie and her 3 friends would be how many people?
3.
Jessie and her 3. 4. So we need 4 equal parts in our tape diagram. And what's my total here?
$11.36.
Okay, and I'm dividing by 4. So what will I skip count by? 4. Okay. I can't remember how far I go on this. Did you notice? So I'm going to do $11.36 divided by 4. And where would my question mark be on this now? Right here?
Yeah.
Or in the box, either way, okay? So So when I look at this, am I going to divide into the 1 or the 11? The 11. So put a box around the 11. Which number is closest to 11 without going over? 8. Now here's the question. Jaden, where do I write this to?
The 1.
Which one?
The one that's in the ones place.
Good. So the 1 in the ones place? Very good. Now I will subtract. 11 minus 8 is?
3.
Okay. Can I bring down my 3? Yes. 3 is less than 4. So now, got to find a number close to 33 without going over. 32. Can I bring down my 6? Okay. And do I have a 16 over there?
Yes.
So that's going to divide evenly, isn't it? So the cost that each girl has to, or friend has to pay for is $2.84. Now how can we check to see if we did this right?
Multiply.
Multiply. What would I multiply?
284 times.
Whoops.
Times. 4.
Times 4.
Man, you knew it.
And
Yeah.
listen. How many decimal place values will I need? 2. Okay, everybody multiply and see what you get. I'm going to stand right in front of mine. So does that match my dividend that I started with?
Yes.
Okay. But that's a pretty simple problem. You might run into some of those on Zern. Okay, so this is a pretty good one. Yeah, they're starting off easy and then it's going to get a little harder, but it's good. So Mr. Fry distributed $126 equally among his 4 children for their weekly allowance. How much money did each child receive? So do we have a total?
Yes. 1.
Okay. Do we have the number of children?
Yes.
4. So what's my problem here?
4 divided by 1.6.
Good try.
Oh.
How about 126 divided by 4?
Oh.
Yes. Okay. And the answer is going to be in money. So how many decimal place values is money? So I'm probably going to have something that looks like this for my answer. Some dollars and some cents. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, cents and cents. Skip count by. So, let's see here. Lauren, what should I divide into? The 1 or the 12? The 12. So I'm going to put a box around the 12. And that means my first number that I write on top is going to go above the 2. Okay? Oh, we have a 12. That's nice. So write the 3 above the 2. Subtract and I get 0. Can I break down my 6?
Yes.
Okay. Now this is where things look like they're going to get interesting. So what number to the side is closest to 6 without going over, Ruby? Have a lot of rubies in here. So I put the 1 above the 6, the 4, and that gives me a remainder of 2, which we can't do. So we're going to, before you add a 0, what do you have to do? Write a decimal, then add a 0. So I've got 20, and there is a 20. So that means I've got 31.5. Now don't shout out the answer if you know how much money each kid got. What should I write also beside the 5? The 0. So this is $31.50 for each kid. Boy, he's paying well, isn't he? I wonder how many chores they have.
I wonder what kind of job he's got.
I know. So now we're going to go down and solve the next problem, and it goes along with this one. So remember $31.50, okay? All right, let's take a look at the next problem. It says John. And John told us that there's absolutely no way this could be talking about his family because it's talking about sisters, and he has only brothers. Okay, John, the oldest child, paid his siblings to do his chores. If John pays his allowance equally to his brother and 2 sisters, how much money will each of his siblings have received in all? Okay, so John took his allowance. How much was his allowance?
$31.50.
Good. And he split it up among his brother and 2 sisters. So how many kids? 3. And we've got to figure out how much each of them got in addition to what they already earned. What did they already earn? $31.50. So I'm going to put that down here because my answer I'm going to have to add to this. Okay? All right, so how do I solve this 31.50 divided by 3? I can't remember how far to go, boys and girls. Okay. Don't forget your decimal. Okay, so do you have it set up? All right, so am I going to divide into the 3 or the 31?
Into the 3.
Into the 3. So that means I'll start with 1 there, won't I? Now this is kind of confusing, so I'm glad we're doing this one. I'm going to bring down my 1, and I notice I can't divide. So what do I write at the top when I can't divide? 0. And then I'm going to subtract a 0 down here. That's the way they'll do it on Zern. That was not the way I was taught. Okay, so now, can I bring down my 5? Yes. Do I have a 15? Yeah. Where do I write the 5? Top of the 5. So now I've got a 0, and I need to bring down my 0. So what number, Isamar, do I write at the top when I can't divide? A 0. Did Isamar answer me?
Yeah.
So my answer is what? How much did each kid receive? Another what? Another $10.50. You might be able to add this in your head. So what's the total that each of those kids got? I would totally do someone else's chores for $10.50. Yeah. Yeah. I would have been rich if this would have been my family because my brother would have paid me to do his the whole time. Okay, let's do one more problem. It's really cool. It's about their height. So go ahead and turn it over. We've got 3 kids here. We've got Ava. She's just going to be an A. Olivia, an O. And Lucas, an L. And those are the 3 siblings of John's, okay? So it says Ava is 23 centimeters taller than Olivia, and Olivia is half the height of Lucas. If Lucas is 1.7 meters tall, how tall are Ava and Olivia? Express their height in centimeters. We'll get to that in a minute. So which one do we know?
We know Lucas.
Okay, so we know Lucas. And how tall is Lucas?
1.78 meters.
Okay, so write that down in a pretty long tape diagram. And we know that Olivia is how tall?
Short.
No.
23.
No, Olivia.
Half the height of Lucas.
Half the height of Lucas. So I'm going to draw a tape diagram there, and I'm just going to put it about the same as half. Okay? So we need to figure out Olivia next. Okay? So how do I figure out half of that?
You divide 2.
Divide by 2. So 1.78 meters divided by 2. Will I divide into 1 or 17 here?
17.
17. So 2 times 8 is 16. Notice I'm not skip counting. I don't need 2 of my 2's, do I? And 2 times what is 18? 9. So we now know that Olivia is what?
89.
89 hundredths meters. Okay? We got to figure out Ava. But here comes the problem. 23 centimeters taller.
So adding?
So we're going to add, but we can't add centimeters to meters.
Oh.
So we're going to have, and it says we have to express our answer in centimeters. So we got to change it to centimeters. So if I change 89 hundredths meters, how do I go from meters to centimeters?
You times.
Multiply by. So how many hops is that?
2.
2. So this would be, in centimeters, it'd be 89 centimeters. So now can I add? 89 plus 23. Did you get 112 centimeters?
Yep.
Okay, now we've got to change Lucas to centimeters. So what are we going to do? Hop it over. So how many centimeters tall is Lucas? 178. Kind of cool problem, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. After filling up 6 bags that were the same size with the mixture, he had 3,500 pounds of nuts left. What was the weight of each bag? I've seen some on Zern like this, so this is going to help you, okay? So first of all, I know that we're going to have 6 equal bags when we're done. So I have a feeling we're dividing by what number? 6. But that's not on this tape diagram. On this tape diagram, I've got to get my thoughts organized. So I've got 3 parts. I've got cashews, pistachios, and leftovers, right? Okay, let's put the leftovers here. And I'm just going to say left. How much did he have left? 3,500, right? Okay. And then we have cashews and pistachios. Okay. So the cashews weighed 6.83 and the pistachios weighed 3.57. Now here's what it says. He mixed all the nuts together and then he divided them into 6 equal bags, but he had some left over. Okay? And at first when I looked at this, I thought, oh, I've got to add it all. Don't write that. Did you hear me say at first when I looked at this? At first when I looked at this, I thought, we've got to add it all up. But then I looked at it and I looked at it like this. So I've got 6 bags, right? Plus my leftovers. You agree? 6 bags plus my leftovers. So how am I going to figure out 1 bag? That's what I got to figure out. That's the question it's asking. So how can I figure out one bag? Well, what am I going to do with my leftovers? What am I going to do with my nuts? That's what I got to figure out. Any ideas? Okay, so I'm going to do this. I want to add the nuts together, don't I? Okay, so to figure out how much this is right here, the cashews and pistachios, what am I going to do? Don't put it down there because we're going to need another tape diagram, so let's put it right here. Okay, so I've got 10.4 or 10.40, correct? And this isn't money, this is pounds. So what about the leftovers though? I'm still concerned about what I need to do with those leftovers. You're right. How'd you know? You already did a problem like this on Zern?
No, I guessed.
You guessed? Well, you guessed right, okay? So we're going to subtract those leftovers out. So how many leftovers are there? 0.35? Okay, now you can look at this as 40 minus 35. Or you could just regroup. So if I were to regroup, this would be 10 minus 5. 3 minus 3. So without the leftovers, what's my total?
10,
Okay, so let's take a look at this. It doesn't matter how big your tape diagram is. We've got a total now that we've got to work with. How many bags? 6. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out one bag, right? That's my question mark right there. So who knows how to solve a problem like this? Divide by what? 6. And I'm going to skip count by 6s. I think you can stop at 30. No, I think it's 42. Okay, am I going to divide into the 1 or the 10? 10. Because I can't put one dot in the 6 groups, can I? Okay, so what number is closest to 10?
1.
6? Okay. So did you get a remainder of 4? Okay, can I bring down my 0? Yes. What number is closest to 40 without going over? 36. Where do I write the 6? Where? Where do I write the 6?
Above the 0.
And where do I write the 36?
On bottom.
Below the 40. 40 minus 36 is what?
4.
Okay. Can I bring down my 5?
Yes.
All right. What number is closest to 45 without going over?
42.
42. Finally, a number that's going to work. Am I going to keep a remainder of 3? No. What will I do?
0.
Right. Do you see a 30 over to the side?
Yes.
Right. Good. So that's a pretty good problem right there. At first, I was thinking, hey, we're dealing with money. We've got problems because I can't have thousandths place for money. And then I remembered, no, it's pounds. It says, what is the weight of each bag? So the weight of each bag is 1.675 pounds. Now here's a little bit of trivia for you. Would you like some trivia? I've wondered why pounds isn't just like PD for pounds or PO for pounds or something. And one of my students said, Mrs. Lewis, do you know what the Spanish word for pound is? Yep. Libra. Do you think maybe the abbreviation for pounds didn't come from the English word?
No.
It didn't. It obviously came from the Spanish word for pound. Isn't that kind of cool? Yeah. Angel told me that. I think he might be a freshman now.
Angel?
A ninth grader.
Yeah, he is.
So, yeah. Anyway. So, good job. We're going to keep doing a few more problems.